Dan Moulthrap. Hey, hi everybody. Sorry. I'll get over to the microphone, and I apologize for what's apparently a aspect ratio problem on my slides. I'm not going to take the time to fix it. I don't think you really want me to anyway. So the Civic Commons is a Knight Foundation funded project. We began work with the able assistance of Mark Cantor over here last summer. At this time, we were heavy into just planning and dreaming and trying to figure out what it was we were doing. And now, a year later, we are actually more or less in the market. But I want to start with this question, because this is the question we were asking ourselves about a year ago. And this idea of cognitive surplus comes from a gentleman who's, oh crap, what's his name? What's his name? Clay Shirky. Just like I talked about him endlessly for like 6 months, and then I almost forgot his name. Clay Shirky is a writer at NYU. He's a professor at NYU in new media, and he talks about this idea of cognitive surplus, that we all have little bits and a little bit of extra time here and there. And we were wondering, basically, if cognitive surplus is capable of creating something like Wikipedia, which, as you all know, just turned 10 years old and has 7 million articles. 3.5 million of them are in English, and they are every bit as reliable as the Encyclopedia Britannica. So that's like an amazing knowledge base that humanity now owns, and it's probably the greatest shared resource that we have since next to our public library system, let's say. So what if you could take that same idea, that people could contribute 5 minutes of their cognitive surplus, 10 minutes of their cognitive surplus to some civic issues that really matter? This is our mission, and really it's this idea of that social media for civic good. You could also think of it as Facebook for shit that matters. We are trying to create a place that matters to you, an issue of civic importance and regional importance. You can come to the civiccommons.com, educate yourself on the issue, educate others on the issue, engage with all of that information and engage with one another, and eventually turn all of that engagement into action. This is just a screenshot. We're trying to provide a lot of different ways to engage with information and to bring people in. Some of you may have seen me walking around with an audio recorder earlier. I was interviewing people for a podcast that we do every week. This week it's going to be about entrepreneurial activity and the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Greater Cleveland. Dar doesn't know this, but on Wednesday we're going to show up with a lot more recording equipment and record the rest of the show at Launch House. The heart of our website is this conversation engine, and it's a social media environment that, as I said earlier, Mark Cantor of Broadband Mechanics helped us build, and it functions according to 7 principles. And those principles are really what separates it both from places like Facebook and places like, say, Cleveland.com or other newspaper websites. It's a transparent environment. You have to be who you say you are. It's an optimistic environment. It is also about participation and diversity of opinions, diversity of viewpoints. It's about taking an entrepreneurial attitude, which means trying things that you don't know if they're necessarily going to work, but the more you try things that seem like they might work, the closer you get to something that does work. And it's about being credible and respecting facts. So there's no anonymity. There is also no just like talking about dumb shit. I'm going to stop saying that word now. We're continually designing and refining the site to make it to trigger your best impulses and your better angels. So, for instance, in the contribution, if you're making a contribution to a conversation, you preview it first, so that will trigger you to look at what you've written, and then you'll think, well, is that really what I mean? When you have to look at it before you actually publish it, then you're more likely to be a little bit more civil to the people you're in conversation with. Some of the design challenges we're facing right now, this one at the top is really the nut that we're trying to figure out, and I think we're getting closer and closer, but we're really good at engaging people and bringing people into a conversation, and these conversations that are happening are things that feel really important. But taking that conversation and turning the talk into action is a big challenge. And so right now we're playing with these ideas of at a conversation at a certain point would tip into a different kind of environment, and suddenly you would be presented with a series of options. Would you like to launch a petition, invite everybody to a meetup, or map the problem, or turn all of this conversation into some kind of an action? We also want to make sure that the environment is an environment that electeds and other government officials feel comfortable in, because that's the most important thing about making sure that talk can lead to impact. If the electeds and the government officials and the appointed chairs of various boards aren't paying attention and aren't a part of the conversation, then it's going to feel like it's not connected. So we need to make sure that everybody feels welcome, including the people who are complaining about problems and the people who can fix the problems. And also, lastly, showing how all of these issues are connected. I'm not going to talk too much more, but we'd love for you to check us out. You can become a member of the Civic Commons community very easily by just connecting with your Facebook account. And if you don't have that, there's a regular login too. But thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing you at the Commons.